Welcome to the Business and Bubbly podcast. This is the place for women in business who are on the journey of building their big ideas and want to have fun along the way. It's for those of us who also know we aren't meant to do business or life alone. Hi, I'm Charity Majors, your host and the founder of Business and Bubbly. Think of this kind of like the can I pick your brain chats that you've always wanted to have with those who are doing epic things, plus business besties, hype girls, and getting into massive action towards your next big idea all in the same place. Oh, and bubbles, because if you're not having fun along the way, you're not doing it right. Together, we'll unlock what it means to be seen, known, heard, and championed all along the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and being a woman in business building big dreams. Each week, I'll bring you a quick sip business tip, as well as interviews from top experts that make you feel like you're getting bottle service for your business. We're having the raw and real conversations and chatting about all the things, the messy middle, the pivots, scaling, the good days and the bad days, because here we do real. It's where we can work hard, play hard, cry it out, and dance it out all at the same time without being judged. This is a place where we are in the arena together and we are each other's biggest fans because most of us have enough comments from the cheap seats. It's where our too much is par for the course and where the gaps of our not enough are filled in by the other epic women that are around us. It's where we can be unapologetic about the mission we are on, about the big dreams on our heart, and the business we are building without having to be perfect or have it all together, or even pretend to. It's a supportive community where business is being done amongst like-minded women because when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. It's a place where you have the support around you to get out of your comfort zone and go after your big ideas because even when you fail forward or when you reach the top, you know it won't be alone. Also, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm obsessed with creating platforms that lift up other women to be seen and heard and known. So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to list your business on our directory called Find Women in Business. All you've got to do is text the word directory to 833-231-8098, and I'll text you the link back to get your free listing. This is also a great way to connect with other women in business from around the world, so definitely check it out. And now let's get to the good stuff. Grab a glass of your favorite beverage, Prosecco, bubbly water, or whatever your flavor is, and let's dive in. Are you with me? Here we go. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I am really, really excited about our next guest. This woman, she is a total rock star. Her name is Christina Moore Ward. I'm so honored that she's on the show tonight. We actually met on the volleyball court. Her and I both play college volleyball. We didn't play against each other, but we met playing, well, we didn't play against each other in college, but we did play against each other.
In the grass.
Yes, in the grass and on tournaments. And we have just always connected, even since it was probably 8 or 10 years ago. And I've just seen this incredible woman build an amazing, amazing brokerage and real estate company. She owns Christina and Company. She's an associate real estate broker. And she's also the co-owner of Kaya Fit, which is a wonderful community of women that love health, that love fitness, that love investing in themselves. So Christina, before I just gush all over you, I'd love to hear for you to share your story with the listeners today, just so they can have a better idea of you and who you are and why they should be listening to you.
Yay, thank you, Charity. You're so amazing. We were just talking about how you're so learning-based and always looking to grow, and what an amazing way to learn and grow by interviewing other people. So thank you for the opportunity.
Sure.
So my name is Christina Moore Ward, and I've lived in Boise, Idaho for about 16 years. I am considered Generation Y, although I'm 34, so I think I'm on the upper end.
You're good, girl. 18 to 35. We're in it.
We're squeezed right in there. So I think I'm kind of old school, but hopefully I can be cool enough to be in Gen Y. I came to Boise to play volleyball at Boise State. They recruited me, and I fell in love with this amazing city. And when I guess my story starts there's lots of stories, but my adult story starts in athletics as a college athlete. And my story getting into real estate starts when I'm 19. And I bought a house, and I bought it. My parents made me buy it. I did not want to buy it, but they also made me save 50% of everything I ever earned, from when I was given a gift for my birthday to mowing someone's lawn to babysitting, teaching swimming lessons, working at the coffee shop. Whatever money I earned, 50% went into an account, which was supposed to be for college, but I was fortunate enough to have a scholarship. So they said, well, you're going to buy a house. So I bought a house in the North End, which is the most popular neighborhood in Boise, for $100,000 when I was 19, and rented it to 2 girlfriends, and they helped pay for most of the mortgage, and sold it, my first sale in real estate, and in 2006. So you can imagine what happened from 2001 to 2006.
Yeah.
If you study the real estate market, it was great. I got into real estate on accident. My degree was my degree is actually health promotion, which has a little bit to do with my other side business, owning Kaya Fit Boise women's fitness program here. But real estate was actually an accident. And what I fell in love with was people, not houses. I love houses. I just love people even more. And so I sold that house in the North End and made enough money to buy a car with 4 doors, because I decided I need to drive people around, and started my real estate career at 23 years old, which is rare. Actually, it's becoming more popular now, but then I felt like the youngest person. But really, the one thing that got me through it, because now you can imagine I started in 2006, and I've gone through one of the biggest real estate crashes of all time, since World War II.
Right.
And the only way that I survived through that was not having a lot of overhead expenses. And that's hard when I hear about student loans and credit card debt and people over leveraging in real estate even. There's a lot of people that got really hurt at that time. And I can say I got hurt too, but just not as bad, because we've only bought our cars with cash. We've haven't upgraded a house. We've stayed in the same house. We do have a great life, but we've tried to keep life simple, and that's how we survived. We did eat rice and beans. We did struggle, but we didn't get into that much debt. In 2007 was 2007 was when it started to crash. 2008, let me think, it's so fuzzy. That was when I almost couldn't make a credit card payment. Even though we weren't spending very much, we were spending what we had to survive in the business and survive in life, and I couldn't make it. And that's when I moved my business to Keller Williams Realty, which is a coaching and consulting company disguised as a real estate brokerage. And my business took off after that.
So what did you learn through 2008? Obviously, being, realtors are they're commission based, and if people are losing houses and they're not buying houses and all of when crap hit the fan, what were the lessons that you learned throughout that time frame?
For commission salespeople, this is a good lesson. When times are tough, don't hide, because I hid. It was tough, and I didn't feel like going out. I didn't feel like, I was probably depressed. And I went 5 months without a closing. And I learned through coaching and consulting at Keller Williams that you can make things happen. There's a smaller pie. There was a smaller pie at that time, so there's less sales happening, but there were sales happening. There was actually amazing deals to be had. There's always opportunities in every market. So I learned how to go out and get it instead of wait for it to happen. So I had a very passive referral-based real estate business. And then I went to more of an aggressive sales-based, and not aggressive in like a taking advantage type of aggressive, but aggressive where I was going to go out and meet people and ask for business instead of wait for it to organically happen.
Right.
And that June in that year where no one was selling real estate, I had 7 closings. Was my first time of closing 7 houses in 1 month. And then fast forward, I learned how to build a team, hire people, sell more, scripts and dialogues, better follow-up. I was pretty lame at following up. And the most closings we've done in a month was 19 in 1 month. And the last 2 years, we've sold about 100 homes a year.
That's amazing. So going back to what you were saying with your, with the passive versus maybe intentional is a word I like to use.
I like intentional. Yeah,
intentional, right? Because yes, there is a difference between like, being aggressive, but also just being intentional about running your business and being the CEO, and not necessarily like suit and tie CEO, but really being intentional about growing that and making the connections and the relationships that are needed. So what was the mindset shift that you had going, what were maybe the things that you learned through your training that it was like, okay, I am being passive and waiting for a business to come to me, compared to how do I make this shift to be intentional? What is it that's motivating me, and how do I stay motivated?
Well, I love that you said mindset, because I didn't know this until I started working on myself, my own personal development, that it all comes down to the way we think. And I know that sounds kind of airy-fairy or foo-foo.
But true.
Well, it's true. And what we focus on expands. So if I was focusing on the market's terrible, I'm not selling anything, then it just the market was terrible and I'm not selling anything. I picked my reality. I chose that. And instead I got myself into an environment that was positive, in a hard time positive, like really, really positive, that is team oriented and focused on what we can control. So what I can control every day is getting up early and exercising, and then getting on the phone and connecting with people. And my job as a connector is not just to sell real estate. My job is to call people and find out what they want and need. And if they need a hairdresser, I've got one. If they need to move to a new school district, I can help them. If they need a new bank, I've got an awesome banker to refer them to. So that's really my purpose every morning, is to connect with people and help connect them with other people or houses if they need help with houses.
I love that. I think we had this conversation before with our strengths finders, and you have connectedness and I have connectedness.
Oh, and I have positivity and woo. So I think every house is amazing. Like, I would love a cardboard box, and I think it's just great. So sometimes my positivity gets in my way.
I love it. Well, I love what you said when you said that you had changed your environment. I'm such a firm believer that environment is stronger than willpower. And so if we want to change something, but we stay in the same environment, it's going to be a lot harder compared to then changing our environment, or changing our friends, or changing our circle of influence, or changing our mindset, right? It's all of those things are environments that will then allow our willpower a better chance to work without becoming exhausted, or work without, hitting up against these brick walls if we haven't changed our environment. So
yeah. And actually, I also love that word willpower, because I just learned about it. In a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. It's a really great book. One of my favorites. He says willpower is not on will call. And so we actually have a battery life. Scientifically, we have a battery life every day. And our willpower is a lot stronger in the mornings. That's why statistically, we are more likely to work out if we work out in the morning. People can work out in the evening, that's totally fine, but statistically, it's going to be more likely to happen. And same with those phone calls. Most mornings, I don't want to make those phone calls. I'd rather just go have fun and answer some emails and, deal with a, negotiation on a contract is more fun, or meeting with connecting with a person face to face. But the phone calls are more efficient. And I do them in the morning because my willpower is better. Our willpower starts to decrease throughout the day. and we're more likely to make poor decisions on our food or lifestyle or exercise. And so my advice to the listeners is to maybe create a schedule, a more rigid schedule in the morning. And this could be good for Generation Y people.
Yeah.
And then have more of a loose schedule in the afternoon.
I love that. That's awesome. That's so good. So with the book, The One Thing, because it's about like finding that one thing that sets the rest of your day or sets the rest of your schedule, right?
Yeah.
So maybe explain that, and then maybe explain a little bit about what you have found that works best for you.
Oh, okay, cool. So the one thing asks the question, what's the one thing that, I'm going to mess it up, but I'll do my best. What's the one thing that has to happen such that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? And that could be, what's the one thing that has to happen today so that it makes everything else today easier or unnecessary? It's the question you can just ask yourself in the morning. What's the one thing in my health that has to happen that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? What's the one thing in my business? Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
So it's very scientific. There's research behind everything in the book. And one piece of research is the idea of the domino effect. A 1-inch domino can knock over a 1.5-inch domino. And the 1.5-inch domino could knock over a 3-inch domino. They can go 1.5 times bigger.
Okay.
And so by the 9th domino, you're knocking over a domino the size of Peyton Manning. And then I'm going to mess this up again too. I'm trying to quote the book as best I can. But by the 20th domino, you're at like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and then eventually you get to the Eiffel Tower by only like 30.
Wow.
So I always ask myself, what's my domino? Like, what's my first little 1-inch domino? And mine is exercise. And especially before I became a mom, I really believe that I escalated my real estate business because I worked out at 5 a.m. and I got to the office at 7 a.m. in an industry where some people don't get, and I love my people, my coworkers, my realtor friends, they're the hardest workers I've ever met. And they work too much and too late. Yet they sometimes don't take care of themselves. And so they're still in their pajamas by 9 or 10 o'clock. And I'm in the office at 7 o'clock because I would exercise and go straight to the office, shower at the office and go. And so I felt like I had hours of productivity on people that caused me to grow, pretty much double my business every year since 2009. And so my domino is exercise. And a lot of people that are a lot smarter or a lot have a better background in health than me say that nutrition is the larger part of the equation. And I agree. I can see the difference. And especially as I've changed the way I eat, I can see nutrition is very important and probably more important. Yet I think that exercise is my domino to eat healthy. Right. And it's my domino to be more positive and be more energetic, to get to the office earlier, to get on the phones, to be a stronger mom and be a more energetic mother. So that's my little domino is exercise.
I love that. That's so amazing. I love that what you said, like the 1-inch domino can eventually then knock over the Eiffel Tower. That's amazing. And like, how productive is that? Like, how
I know
is that?
It's so cool. It's so cool.
So because going back to your, being the owner of Christina and Company, you have done an incredible job at surrounding yourself with a team that just gets it done. Like, tell me what you have done and what you look for in people that you surround yourself with, that you intentionally surround yourself with, so that you can then be obviously the most efficient at what you do, but that things can get done even when you're not around. Because I know, especially as business owners, sometimes we tend to wear every single hat, and we tend to have to do everything, or we think that we have to do everything and be all things to all people instead of outsourcing. Mm-hmm. And so tell me a little bit about your experience team building and what that has been able to do for you and for your business and for your productivity.
Oh, cool. Okay, I love this. So I love the word leverage. It's like my favorite word.
Yeah.
And systems, although that's not my strength. I find leverage to help me with systems. But leverage was introduced to me when I moved to Keller Williams. And of course, as a realtor or a business owner of probably most businesses, you start and you wear all the hats. You learn it all, which is great as a leader because you've done it all. And so you can kind of sympathize with your team members, and you've been there. I've put the signs in the yard. I've showed the, client 100 homes. I've stayed at the office until midnight, multiple nights in a row to earn not the right, but I earned the opportunity to grow past my ceiling of achievement. I think in sales and in probably most businesses, we reach a ceiling of achievement because we run out of time. We can find better systems or more efficient ways of doing things, but we all physically have 24 hours a day. And a newer idea in real estate, which is crazy because if you think about all of the other businesses, they figured it out and us realtors thought of it last, is the team idea. And it's really a business idea. You go from salesperson to business owner.
Yeah. And
I hired my first assistant, and I don't know what year. It's all fuzzy to me. 2010, I think. And we doubled the sales. We went from more than doubled. We went from 4 million to 10 million in sales.
Wow.
Because how
did you do that? Like what?
How?
One person.
Because she's amazing. She still works with me, Kelly. And she's Gen Y. She probably could be interviewed because she's the best at what she does. Really like the best in the nation at what she does. She does everything detail. And I do everything people and sales. Yeah. So our business was split about 50-50. She did all the paperwork, transaction to close, all the coordination. She has a 150-point checklist she takes people through to closing. A person can't do that alone. It's not, I was pretty good at it. I gave her like a 75-point checklist that I used to have for taking care of my clients, but she just keeps making things better, more efficient, and it's a much better service. It's a much better experience for our clients. And then I get to just go be with the people. So I get to do what I do best, which is negotiate, sell, connect, serve my people. And when I'm with my people, I'm all there. My mind's not like, oh, I wonder what's happening with that failing real estate transaction, that poor client that buyer is not going to buy their house anymore, because Kelly's on it. Kelly sits behind a desk all day and she takes care of all of that. And the funny thing is that when you hire talent, you can feel it. And I think a lot of people are afraid of, business owners are afraid of giving it away because no one can do it as good as they can. And I felt that same way. But that's called ego.
Yeah.
What we do is not, what all of us do is not that special. And so I had to remove my ego and realize that there are people out there that are better than me at certain things. And then I get to go be the best at what I do. And they get to go be the best at what they do. And together Kelly, it's more than Kelly now, but Kelly was the huge turning point in my career. And I owe a lot to her. She's amazing. And what's been really fun is to watch her go from being in retail and being young and out of college and not knowing where her life was going to really having purpose and finding something that she's really good at, that she's really passionate about.
I love that. There's a book that this brings to mind. It's called The Next Generation Leader, and they talk exactly what you are talking about, where
cool.
I bet you would love the book if you haven't read it, since you and me are fellow personal development junkies. But it talks about that. It's like we don't have to be good at everything. We just have to be good at our top strengths, because when we feel like we have to be good at everything, or when we do all of the tasks, whether it's in a business, in a home, in a whatever that might be, it actually takes away the opportunity for someone else to step up and grow in their God-given gifts and abilities and talents and callings and purpose. So yeah, I love that point. So you went from 1 to 2, more than doubled in your business. So then what happened?
Then I needed help with buyers because I was too busy. Kelly was doing all the paperwork and all the details, and I was helping all the buyers and sellers. And I think we sold 54 homes or something crazy, just the two of us. And so we both were overworked, underslept, and I was falling asleep writing emails to my clients in the middle of the night. And so we hired a buyer's agent, and she helped all of the buyers and I helped all the sellers. So then again, my focus got smaller. And I think I said before, what you focus on expands. And so you can focus on negative things and then that'll expand, or you can focus on having less jobs and then that grows. And I didn't realize that I could take more listings. I thought that I just could only attract buyers, and buyers are more time consuming. Statistically, they're about double the amount of time to serve them than a seller. And so no offense to my wonderful buyers, because they're more fun. I love working with buyers. Buyers are like marrying a house. Sellers are like divorcing a house. So buyers are more fun to work with. Sellers have to clean their house, pay me, and sell it for less than they want to usually. So buyers are more fun, but they are more time consuming. And so when I found someone that was great with people, that loved houses, that could run around all day, person to person, house to house, then I took more listings and our team grew again. And I think that next year we sold 74 houses. So it didn't grow as much. I mean, it still grew a lot, but we started to reach that ceiling of achievement again.
Yeah.
And so we realized Kelly was getting too overworked. So then we split Kelly's job into two. Wait, what happened? Oh, I remember. Kelly and Bree, who was my first buyer's agent, and I, that's when we sold 19 houses in 1 month. And we all were in tears, and we didn't know what was happening, if anyone was happy. We got more positive reviews that month than we've ever had, but we definitely bonked against the ceiling of achievement at 19. And in that month, I interviewed 20 people to hire someone else to help Kelly. And the person that I chose, I offered her the job and she wanted to get paid more than what I was willing to pay her to start, or that I could pay her to start. I knew that she could make that in the future, but she needed it right then. And so she said no. And I felt like I had to start over on my interview process and continue to serve all those clients. Yeah. And I came home and I said, I quit. And I told my husband, I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not made for this. And I quit. And I usually quit in real estate once in a while, but it's just an overnight quit. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm happy to work again.
Yeah.
Those moments. But this time I was serious. And so he said he worked a 9-to-5 job in a land development company. And he said, no, I quit. I'm going to come help you and Kelly and Bree. And we're going to leave this little teeny, this smaller paycheck and go help the machine that's working, that's growing. And he started as a runner. He ran errands. My husband, Lane, he did signs, lock boxes, keys. He assisted Kelly so she could go do her best work, kind of how Kelly did that for me. And then he worked his way up. He pretty much also wore every hat on the team. And now his job is to run the operations side of the business, and I run the sales side of the business. That's been huge for me because, I think you mentioned this, I kind of get in the way. If I work with the admin side, I get too controlling and I monitor people too much, and I don't become a fun person to work with. So he does that. He does that a lot better than I do. He's excellent.
That's awesome. So going back to what you said, which I love, the ceiling of achievement, that means okay, we have physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is, we've done everything that we can, and this is as far as we can go. What are some things that you know that you have hit that ceiling of achievement, and then what do you do to get past it?
Oh, I love that question. So actually you just do it, because what's funny is it's like a rubber band. When you stretch out a rubber band, it never goes back to its original size. So that next year we actually had 19 closings in a month and we didn't even notice. So all we did is sell 19 houses in a month, and we learned how to sell 19 houses in a month. We did it again and we didn't cry at all. We weren't, it was still hard. It was still probably a lot of work, but we were like, oh, we did 19. That was no big deal. So it's almost just doing it that allows us to grow, or at least do it again with less effort, or it feels more natural.
Yeah.
And then after that, it is literally changing our habits, changing our activities. It's making, you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results.
That's called insanity.
It's insanity. So we, hired new people, or, we broke things, systems broke when that happened. So we were like, oh, the way that we did things when we were able to serve 5 to 10 people a month now doesn't work for serving 20 people a month.
Right.
So we had to change systems, and it was just doing it. It was failing, a lot of failing. And it wasn't bad for our clients. It's just so much better now. It was good, but now I think it's just, I'm like, I think back to like 5 or 10 years ago, and I think, I'd love to sell them another house so that they can see what a great experience it is now.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I love that because it's you're conscious of when you hit that ceiling of achievement, we do become very conscious of what systems are not working or where the leaks come from, right? It's kind of like having this bucket of water, and then if leaks are starting to come out, well, that's not being as efficient. And so it's tightening up the holes and plugging the holes and changing systems, which can sometimes be crazy in itself, right? We have to slow down to then speed up.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
but it makes such a big difference. So I love that you've done that. Well, awesome, Christina. You have shared such amazing, valuable information just with surrounding yourself with the right people and leverage, and gosh, we could just go on for forever. But before we close it out, I actually want to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you if they, want to reach out, or if they want to buy a house, or if they need a good hairdresser, or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So how can people get a hold of you, Christina?
I would love to connect with your people, Charity. So our website is ChristinaandCompany.com, and it's all spelled out. So ChristianaAnd company.com. And my email is Christina@ChristinaandCompany.com. I love Facebook requests, and I think I'm the only Christina Moore Ward on Facebook. So it's just Moore, Moore, and then Ward, Ward. I'd love to share with people other of some of my favorite books. I have a favorite personality profile that I have unlimited access to. It's called the DISC profile. So if someone's curious about their personality and maybe kind of wondering which direction they should go in life, if they are thinking more, I want to work in a support role versus a sales role versus an owner of a business role, there's a really fun personality assessment that I can kind of help people figure out where their strengths are and maybe what direction they can go in their future job or future career. And I'm just happy to help. I love my mission in life is to be a bright spot in someone's day every day. And so if someone reaches out to me and asks for help, then that will allow me to reach my daily mission. Yeah. So I would love to connect with your people. So thank you.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. Well, you've definitely been a bright spot in my day.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
To hear any reviews or comments that the listeners might have, as they do listen to this, and maybe just to comment on any value that they received or maybe their favorite point. So you listeners out there, make sure that you guys do that. And if you know someone that would find this information valuable, feel free to share it with them. So Christina, thank you again so much for being on the call. You are a bright, shining light to all of us. I just love your passion and your heart and your leadership. So I'll definitely have to have you on again. But yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Charity.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.